Hey man, the conversation had already begun. Lina Lamukekavelo Sekef Khang, and we welcome you in this warm home of ours called the Enken Thing Podcast. And as always, I try to bring you the best that there is. Mosie Mamaregane is here. Jewel, Leonard, did I get it right?
Yeah.
They're here, and thank you so much for joining us. Mafetu, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Is so lovely.
Yeah, it is
Very
an
lovely.
honor. I did tell you, Mosie, that already I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
Yes.
But I got this.
You got it. You
We
got it.
this. Yeah.
Got
You got it.
Otherwise, how are you guys?
We're good. You want to go, Jewel?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. Excited to be here. I think this is like my first podcast where I'm also talking about what I do
Yeah.
and how I do it. So it's exciting for me, and I'm really grateful to be here. But I'm so cold, man. This weather in South Africa right now, Joburg. But yeah, I'm moving with a lot of good energy today. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm also good.
Yeah.
I'm just like probably a little bit exhausted because of rehearsals, you know.
Yeah.
But this is the life we chose. So we're here. But I'm grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for all that is happening.
Even though you guys didn't ask me.
Yeah. How are you? How are you? Sorry.
Too late.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's my first day. My first day being 30. Yesterday was my birthday.
Woo! The big
Happy
3-0.
belated. Happy belated. Happy
They're
belated.
dirty 30s. They're clean 30s.
Dirty 30.
They're clean 30s. You know, so every time around the 7th of August, which was my birthday, weather always changes. So I sometimes I feel like, you know, it's a special message from God. I remember this other time there was like a snow for the first time in the country, and people were crying, and I was like,
Yes. And that happened on your birthday, hey.
exactly.
Oh, nice.
So yesterday they said there's going to be this cold front and stuff. It was raining, and I was like, of course, man.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings.
You know what I mean?
Love it.
You guys created a show called an ensemble called Peeling Shadows. But before we get to talk about that, I want to attempt to peel your own shadows, your creative shadows. So I'm going to do this where Mosie is going to be reading Jules' bio to give us a little bit of context of who are these people. Yeah, these magicians. Are you ready?
Ready,
Yeah.
ready.
By the way, Mosie, you are free to read it, and I know you have a beautiful voice for
Oh, you want
voiceovers.
to activate my radio voice.
So
Hey,
if
cast
you,
me.
if you want to do that, let's go.
Okay. Jewel Leonard is a multi-award-winning emerging director, writer, illustrator, and actor in Jozi, the City of Gold. He began his journey at the Wits School of Arts, where he graduated with distinction in performance studies, shout out, movement, and writing, and was jointly awarded the Richard Haynes Prize along with Harry Aldo Faulkner for their work on Jewel Leonard Does Scenes from Hamlet in 2020. He was then chosen to be part of the top 6 finalists to join Kwasha Theatre Company, an intern program designed to train and enhance the skills of South Africa's leading drama graduates. Since then, Jewel has collaborated on the award-winning The Art of Facing Fear, the world's first Zoom play during COVID-19, the pandemic, collaborated on a successful audio rendition of Boris Vian's, am I saying it right? Boris Vian's.
It was, Boris Vian.
Boris
yeah.
Vian, The Empire Builders, and is the illustrator and co-director of the Naledi Award-winning production Peeling Shadows, alongside Sinenhlanhla Prince Mgay. In 2022, while living in London, he was a member of the Park Theatre Company and co-directed the play Paper Town with James Carningham Curry and Francesca Matthews, performed by students with learning disabilities in 2023. In 2024, he returned to Johannesburg and wrote and directed Uprooted, a play performed by students from over 12 African countries, featuring over 8 different languages, and was the mentor of Kwa Mnyamandawo, performed by the 7th iteration of Kwasha Theatre Company.
Shout out to Kwasha. Man, how old are you, Joel, if you don't mind?
I'm 28.
For real.
Yeah.
You know, when Mosie was reading this, I was like, Kabelo, what have you been doing for the past 30? So in the next...
Living your best.
Yeah.
And
You know.
That's just my art bio. I've been a janitor, waiter. I've been a
son.
a son. I've English teacher. I just came back from teaching English in Japan as well.
Yeah.
So I've done even more things. Like I'm a very busy person, but yeah.
How was the experience teaching English in Japan?
It was beautiful, but it was hard because it wasn't creative. I wasn't really used to the idea of like, this is a set way of teaching and I can only stick to this one thing. And it's just like, it felt like the same day over and over sometimes, but it was very beautiful. I needed it, you know, being around young kids every day teaches you about life, you know, and seeing people go through school reminds you of how you were at school a bit, and you get those life lessons to be like, give yourself grace and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was very unexpectedly emotional, but it was beautiful. And yeah, Japan, I think everyone should go at least once in their life. Like, that culture, the vibe, it's super interesting. Do you like anime?
Of course I do.
Yeah. Which animes do you like?
Trying to think of one that can come to my mind right now. There's one called Sakamoto Days. I'm still trying to get into that.
Sakamoto Days.
I love Death Note, of course. Who doesn't?
I lived in the city where they filmed the live action of Death Note.
Yeah. The thing about anime is that it's one of those things. If you say I love this one, people are going to be like, oh, it means you don't, you know.
Yeah, no,
so
people
I'm
critique
staying away
you.
from the Naruto's and the Dragon Ball Z. So I'm gonna go with
No, Dragon Ball Z. I think that's the only one I know.
No, that's dope. That's dope.
Thank you.
Who has to read another one?
I got to read for Mosie. I'll read for Mosie. All right. I don't do radio, so I don't have a radio voice, but I'll try. I'll gooi.
Let's go.
Mosie Mamaregane is a 28-year-old multifaceted actor, vocalist, writer, and creative director originally from a small township in South Africa called Seshego. She is an astounded theatre and online content writer who started her art career at the National School of the Arts. Mosie is a Market Theatre alumni and was part of the top 3 drama finalists for the Nedbank Arts and Culture Trust for Best Actress in South Africa 2017. She worked on radio for a period of 2 years as a radio broadcaster and journalist before enrolling at the Market Theatre Laboratory. After graduating, she later went on to join Kwasha Theatre Company and Hooked on Books as a children's theatre actor and scriptwriter. She has since then been a recipient of 3 International Theatre Awards and scooped her first Naledi Theatre South African Award in 2022. As an extension of her vocal and creative work, Mosie has recently toured France for her first solo show, directed by Robin Orlin. She is currently a second-year lecturer at the Market Theatre Laboratory, teaching devising and script writing and theatre making for theatre for young audiences. She was most recently seen in The Fall, directed by the theatre duo at the Market Theatre, and is currently performing as Boang Letswalo in Peeling Shadows.
The Fall was a beautiful production, by the way. Mosie, you know when people say that they are polymath, they're actually speaking this thing into existence.
Yes.
But you actually are. You live that life.
Thank you.
How
I'm
is it?
flattered. Stop. How is it being polymath?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think curiosity. I've just always been a curious human being. I've always wanted to learn about stuff. Always wanted to learn about humans. Always wanted to learn about the world that I live in. And I found that through the arts, I'm able to sort of navigate a lot of the things that I would try and make sense of myself and the people around me and the environments that I find myself in. So just a sense of curiosity. I've always been someone who's open-minded, and I'm not afraid of asking questions, and I'm not afraid of being questioned as well. And I think that's also just like sort of what forms part of the curious sort of like thing that I've always had. Yeah.
Just for the purpose of clarity, I know it's different for different people. You know, people explain or they talk about these many talents that they have as if it's their many children. And some of them are saying, would say they are not able to pour equally into, you know.
Yeah.
So among those many children of yours, which one is your favorite?
I want to say acting because that's the one thing that I've been doing the most. But I think music, and it's something that I've been neglecting the most.
Yeah.
And something that I should actually start pouring in a lot more, and really give myself to just be in that element and to really understand the world of music, and not just as someone who can sing and, you know, who can get into studio and record a song, but really understand the business of music as well, and putting myself out there as a brand of some sort, if that's what we call it nowadays. But acting will always be my first love. I think through acting I can do all of it. You know, I can be a singer on set. I can be a lot of things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I had a privilege of getting to see the performance that you did with was it Netbank? Was it Act?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Arts
was
and
actually
culture.
that was like my very first time getting exposed to you and Wanda.
Oh yes.
You know.
Was this for
And
the Netbank thing? Hey, in
yeah,
2017.
that was like my very first time, and I remember saying to, I think probably for 2 weeks, you know, I kept telling people about you. You know, I was like, I'm placing a bet on that young lady.
Yeah.
You know, because I can tell Hore, she's going far. But not only did I know Hore, you actually come far. You come from the world of journalism, you come from the world of radio. So I'm just interested to know how does those skills translate into what you do right now?
Sure. So I matriculated 2015 at the National School of the Arts, and I actually wanted to go study film at AFDA. But I was raised by a single parent, so my mom didn't have fees. She was just like, girl, I've done enough. You went to NSA, like you gonna have to get a job, you know. And fortunately, at the radio station that I was working at with Ashifa Shaba,
Shout out, man.
at the time, yes, we had like an interview, like matriculants came in just to talk about like their prelim exams and like prelim exam story, and then their finals as well. And they were like, oh my God, you've got such a beautiful voice. And I was like, oh, thank you. And they called me in.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so thanks.
And she knew what she was doing.
Don't
She
say
knew
that.
what she was doing. She knew what she was doing.
Mosie
I mean,
knows.
I just went there as a performer.
some lines.
You know,
I
it's
doubt.
like, you know,
I
it
doubt.
is what it is.
Yeah.
But then after that, they gave me a call. They're like, listen, if you want a job for December, if you want to come work when schools close, you're more than welcome to come and learn how the radio works and stuff, and then see if you might like it. And I was like, oh, cool, I've got a job in December. That's so great. I just matriculated. Let me just go make 500
Yeah,
or
yeah.
670 or whatever at the time. And I was grateful for it, you know. And then they're like, listen, we want to hire you on a full-time basis from next year. We'd like for you to come in and read the news every morning for the breakfast show, which was such a big deal because usually you'd start with like late night,
Midnight
and then you'd
shows.
go into like the drive time, and then before you move up to the breakfast show. So I was like so grateful and so fortunate to make it to the
Prime
breakfast show, and I was like,
time,
oh
baby.
my God, me, little 18-year-old, walking in studio, reading the news. I'm not really knowing what this world looks like or like how it works, but I learned as I went. And I learned a lot about journalism. I learned a lot about news. I learned a lot about accuracy and a lot more about storytelling. It really, really did open up a lot that I didn't know I had. So that experience was quite fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was asking, how does those skills translate into what you are doing right now as an actor? You spoke about the love for curiosity,
Yes.
you know, this journalism.
Yeah.
I'd imagine you take that to use it to like, you know,
Sure. Yeah.
in depth of the characters that you portray on stage.
Absolutely. And I think it's always just like asking the right questions, you know, and asking questions that really work for the story and work for the intention of what it is that you're trying to achieve. And that's the thing with journalism. It's like I was fortunate enough to work with a head news editor who liked the truth, you know, because usually journalists are after like a story because we want to be the first ones to report
Yeah.
it. But he was always after the truth, like what is the truth behind the story and how are we not fabricating the news just so that people can tune in and be like, oh my God, they gave us this news bulletin at this time and we heard it from Energy FM, and so we're going to tweet about it and tweet at them and mention them. But he was really concerned about people. He was really concerned about what really goes on behind the media. And for me, that really translates a lot into how I then understand my characters. Like it's not just me reading the script and then trying to learn the lines, but also really identifying the world of the character, like the psyche of the character, the psychology. And if there is no character background for the character, I'm creating one for them. So I'm giving them a real world that I'm going to tap into, because this is also essentially someone else's story, a real life human being somewhere. I might not know who that person is, but it is my job and my responsibility to carry it as truthfully as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I think journalism did that for me, to always tell the truth through my craft.
I love it.
Yeah.
When I come back to you, it's probably going to be almost the same question.
No problem.
Yeah, I just want to see how you're going to dance around that.
Okay.
Joel,
Sir.
you spoke something about not being able to settle in this teaching job. So I'm just wondering, are creatives made or creatives born? You know?
Yeah.
I had a very interesting, but I was judged. I went to an interview, applied for this particular job. So obviously, I've done a couple of jobs for theaters, but not on stage, behind, you know. But obviously, when they saw the numbers, the name of these theaters already, they're like, "This is a creative." So they called me to this interview. They're like, "Bro, we are not saying we're not going to hire you, but in this place, people who are creative or people who are into creativity don't thrive." You know, and yeah, they did hire me. It didn't go well, but I don't think it was because of that. You know, so I'm just wondering, from your perspective, you know, having juggled both the world probably of corporate and creativity and the arts, what do you make of that?
I think creatives are born, because I can only speak for myself as a creative as well, but like my father is a veterinarian, so he's a very medical person. My mother is a hairdresser, so she's a more social person. But all of my siblings, and including me, are very creative. We love to draw. My younger sister is an interior designer. My older sister is a graphic designer. I do illustration, directing, theater, acting. And then my older brother, he has cut off that creative side and moved into construction. And I can see the results it's had, you know, for him. Not to speak on him too much, but I know, like, it's a born thing, because when I was teaching at the school, I could see which kids had that innate creativity and which kids would respond when I was teaching in Japan. There was one kid, Sana. She would always, midway through lessons, just draw, and I couldn't stop her. I would be like, please focus, you know, always reminding her, please look at the board, whatever. She looks for 5 seconds. No, let me draw this little heart. Let me draw this little thing here, you know. Other kids as well, you want to maybe teach them. For example, we have to teach like 3 sentences a day at the English school that I was at. The one kid, he would like take that sentence and turn it into a performance now. He's turning it into a little thing now. It's like, Johnny eats an apple. Johnny eats an apple, and he's doing a thing now, you know. And it solidified that they're born, you know. We're made, there's a source we come from, creative people, and we have a job to do on this earth. And going into the corporate world taught me that lesson, funny enough. Being in the creative world didn't teach me that lesson. Going the other way taught me the lesson. For example, that kid, Sana, she was always drawing. It reminded me when I was a child, I used to walk up to the teacher and make a deal. I'd say, "Ma'am, if I finish all my work, can I draw?"
Yeah.
And the teacher would say, "Yeah." And then I'd finish drawing if I finished all my work, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a born thing, I think. And I love to study artists. Like I'll always Wikipedia them. Do you know Bill Withers?
I'm not sure if I'm familiar
Ain't
with
no sunshine.
Oh, of course I do. Of course I do.
He spent
he
his
did a
whole
great version of Lean on Me.
He spent his whole life as he worked in a toilet seat making factory. But on the side he was making his music, you know, and then finally, poof, he became it, you know. So I think you're born. I think you're born.
Mosie, what do you make of the same question, if I were to bring it back to you?
Do I think art is innately you're born with it, or do you find it along the way? I think you can find it. I also strongly believe in finding art, because those that are born with it need to share it, and share it for the purposes of others to find it. So I think it can fall both ways. But if you want to be great, if you really want to be exceptional, I believe you have to be born with an element of just a gift of some sorts that nobody has but you. But if we're talking about just the generalization of art in finding itself and you finding it, I think you can find it and become the thing. You can emulate the thing. You can pretend to become the thing. But the problem with that is that you can only pretend for so long, right?
Of course.
Because then authenticity is like, it's always going to, pour out.
At some point, you're going to get exposed.
We're going to see you for who you really are. But born with it, definitely, for the exceptional part of it. But in terms of it reaching people, for it to find them, like, you might find that, because we often think that it's like, I have to be a singer or a painter or a dancer or an actor. But sometimes you're a thinker, sometimes you're a cook, sometimes you're a giver, sometimes you're a nurturer, sometimes you're a mother. So, and I think that's art. I think just life in itself.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find inspiration from artists to become those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was something that I should have said with your first answer. I'd love to actually hear a body of work from you, music and poetry, because I'm a huge fan of your poetry.
Okay.
But you post your poetry and then you delete it, because I remember
I don't delete it.
for real. There's this other poem that you did.
That you're exposing.
And then I downloaded the poem on my phone, and then I think I lost my phone. And then when I got another phone back, I was like, oh, there's this actually poem Mosie recently did. Let me go and check it. And I went to your Instagram, and I was looking for it. I was looking for it. And I was like, nah, it's okay.
I don't know. I think sometimes I just feel like, I don't know, I cringe sometimes at some of the stuff that I post, and which I shouldn't, because then I guess people want to hear it. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know why I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do it. It's a personal thing, and maybe I should stop. I should let things live.
But poetry is also such a sensitive thing nowadays, because I feel like people judge poetry like a lot more than any other thing on the internet.
Do you think so?
Because like you put up a TikTok dance, no one really cares. People will like, they're not going to say, yo, that dance. But poetry, people are like, what are these words saying, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do feel like people are very critical online of a bad poem. If the poem is bad, they hate it, you know?
Yeah. But I don't think it was bad. I don't think that's why. Because he was looking for it. So.
Yeah.
I think there was something good about it.
It was. It was.
I'll send it to you personally. I promise. You know what? In fact, every poem I shoot, you will have them.
Please do.
So that you have an archive of those things, you know? So that whenever I feel a little bit, it's like at least someone has them.
Yeah. This was a question that I was going to ask later, but since you brought this up, I feel like theater is the one that, you know, has like so many critics. You know,
man, yeah.
I was actually thinking to myself. I was having a conversation with somebody. We were talking about two theaters, and I said to this person, I feel like this particular theater is doing the reason why they're selling well is because of they are doing theater for the normal audience. And I was like, this particular theater, I feel like they are doing theater for other theater makers, you know. And at some point I feel like audience members get alienated, you know. So I don't know, is there a thing, Mosie? I'll start with you.
Where theater makers feel alienated, or audience members?
No, where creatives are actually creating for other creatives instead of.
Oh yes, I think that. Sorry, I'm laughing because when you say this, I'm thinking of moments where I've had conversations like this with a few of my theater friends, and I think that's really what the culture of theater is now, and it's been condoned, and it's been accepted that we make theater for the people that we like. And if the person that I want to come watch my show doesn't like my show, then, oh my God, there's something wrong with my writing, or there's something wrong with my directing. So we've completely, I think, and not every theater maker also, we're not painting everybody with the same brush.
Of course.
You know, we can't generalize. But for the purposes of just letting go of the audience and really forgetting that it is about the people, I think we've lost that. I think we've lost the reason why we tell stories. Because we're so critical of our own work before we even put it out there, because we're looking at what my friend will say about it, because my friend is a creative, and it's like, if my friend doesn't like it, then I'm not creative enough. But then you're not doing this for someone who is looking at it with that eye. And sometimes it's being in a space with creatives all the time that really, I think, creates that mindset where it's like, get out, go hang out with people who hike. I don't know, go cycle, go swim, go talk to people you don't talk to, so that you don't get boxed into that little world of constantly having to prove a point to people who are already trying to prove a point to themselves. It's, so go out there.
Where do you think that is coming from?
I don't think it's an insecurity thing. And maybe it could be a thing of relevance, and wanting to be heard. I feel there's a deep need for people to be heard. Like, if I'm going to put on a show, if I'm going to tell a story, I want to be heard, and I want to be seen for how good I am. And besides, I want to be heard for my opinions as well. Yeah, like I want to be felt for who I am and the things that I can bring into this world. I want to matter. to somebody, to something, in a space, about something. So there's a need for community. And I think that's where the thing is. It's that we're not saying let's let go of this community that we've built, but it's that in it, how do we then sort of then move differently amongst each other in creating work that does not try to prove a point every time to each other, because then it becomes this loop thing where it's like, oh, I'm trying to show you that I can stage this.
Yeah.
And then, oh, I can stage this. Oh, and I can say this. Oh, and I can write that. Oh, do you think my show is great? And it's like now you're forgetting that the point.
Joel, are we condoning it?
Yeah.
Are we? I'm thinking of a hip hop, because I know Mosie is a huge fan of hip hop and lyricism.
yeah.
So in hip hop, when you're listening to hip hop, you know that there are particular categories, although it's not an actual thing, but you know that somebody like, I'm trying to think of a name, somebody who's like hardcore lyricism, somebody that you're going to have to like sit there and decipher their rhymes.
Like
You
Absol.
Andre
use Absol.
3000.
Yeah.
Yeah. MF
Trying
Doom.
to MF Doom. That's
Yes.
who I was thinking about.
The mask.
Yeah.
So in hip hop we are able to do that, and then there are people who are in the middle ground. These are your Jay-Z's. So these are people who are lyricists, but can also, tap into the mainstream, into that super catchy thing,
Sure.
So I'm wondering, is there such thing in theater?
I can only really speak for. I mean, when I was trying to figure out the scene in London, it was interesting. But for Joburg, what it seems to me is that there's like your musicals, right? So musicals is like mainstream. Musicals is like your money makers, particularly at the Joburg Theatre, and lyric theatre at the Gold Reef. If you want to also go, or if you want to take it far, if you want to go to Sun City and that theatre there, that's your mainstream, your massive. Also cruises. A lot of my friends in musical theatres do the cruises.
Yeah.
And those are your mainstream money making, not necessarily the best storylines or the most effective emotional arcs for characters, but it's the like mainstream. And then here at the Market Theatre and other spaces like Pop Arts and other spaces is where you're getting people who are trying to break out from fringe and get to the middle, I think, if that makes sense. I think the Market is the closest we have to a middle. And we don't have many middles. Because like when you go to the UK, they've got what's called the West End.
Yeah.
And the West End is just like massive theatres, and they're all like big musicals. Like it's like the mecca of theatre. You're watching like, there's a show called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, right? That show is 8 hours long. You watch it in over 2 days, part 1 and part 2. You watch 2 hours, take a break, watch another 2 hours, then you go home. You come back the next day. That thing sells out every day, every single day. I was an usher on that show.
Wait, how many hours the first day?
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
Tomorrow.
Another 4 hours, yeah. And it is incredible theater. Like they actually took techniques from real magicians to pull off some of the magic in the show, and it is insane. Like crewing. I mean, I was an usher, not a crew member. I was an usher on that show, and I didn't work. I was just watching the show. Like I was just like, whoa, every time. And then you go to other parts of the UK where it's all fringe spaces. There's no middle. Unless you want to do like the National Theatre, which is your Shakespeare's, your big Shakespeare's. But then again, that's big again.
Yeah.
So South Africa, I think in Joburg, I can say we've got a little bit of a middle with the Market Theatre. Because we've also got a lot of small fringe spaces in places outside of Joburg. We've got TX Theatre. We've got all these other places down by Eastern Cape, KZN. Even Northern Cape is starting to get some theatre spaces.
Yeah.
So it's hard to fully say, but I'm not condoning the let's all make for each other. Nah, I'm not condoning it fully because for me, theatre is what you want it to be. And if your main aim as a theatre maker is to impress another theatre maker so you can get a gig in France or something, it's a bit. I know it's a business.
Redundant,
There's money you want to make. You want to become successful, but it for me it does. There is a questioning of why are you in this if you're making work for other people, but other people who aren't audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it does happen to all industries. I think in
Yeah.
hip hop,
Yeah,
even I think it happens
It
to
does.
Sure.
film. I think there's,
Mhm.
I mean, I love actors who have the weird or artists who have like the weirdest impulse to make something.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many examples of. Yes, actually, did you hear about? Because you know Denis Villeneuve, who made Dune.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
with,
right?
Is it Timothy Chalamet?
Timothée Chalamet,
Yeah.
yeah. So, he got compared to Christopher Nolan recently, right? You know, Christopher Nolan's like the
I'm a huge fan of
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got
I'm yet to watch Dune 1 and 2.
yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, I'm yet to.
Yeah.
and so he got compared to Christopher Nolan, and he was like, "So what?" You know, he was like, "I'm not making work for him. Like, why are you comparing me to him?" You know, and I was like, "That's very refreshing," because a lot of directors will kind of, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they might wince at that, but it's like boxing. You're not trying to become the best. You're not trying to beat the guy. You're trying to beat yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to be the best version of you
Sure.
to win, not I must do X, Y, and Z.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I was actually about to ask you. You have worked in different countries.
Yeah.
You mentioned London
Yeah.
and South Africa. What is it that you think that the South African theatre world can learn from London, and also what is it that you think that the London world can maybe take from the South African theatre scene?
Well, first thing is that in London, London just as a city is really space conscious. They've got an overpopulation crisis. Joburg, we've got space, bro.
Yeah.
We are not using the space we have in our country. I mean, Joburg, the whole of Gauteng, we've got so much space for development, right? So the first thing we could take is that in London, I didn't know this before I went, but a lot of theatres are above a bar. So pubs and theatres are like seen as together all the time. So a lot of people will go watch a show, go have a drink afterwards. So 5 o'clock, what are you doing on a Sunday? Did you want to go grab a beer? Okay, you go grab a beer. What's happening upstairs? Oh, there's a show. Do you want to go grab a show? Why not? You know, it's an interesting culture. Whereas in South Africa, we're very old school. We're like, I'm going to the theater. I'm going to dress up. I'm going to...
But I
A little
like
bit of
that.
energy.
Yeah.
Oh,
We do... theater is not very sacred in London.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
sacred. To like South Africans treat theater so sacred. And
Yeah.
I love that about us. I
Yeah.
love that about us. Like, we will
But
do
doesn't that
anything.
give people the idea that this thing is for the elite? You know, the very same thing that we were talking about, alienating the audience. Because I remember having a conversation with somebody. I was saying to them, in Soweto Theatre, there is Jabulani Mall. They're literally like the opposite. Market Theatre is opposite Newtown Mall, and then you have Soweto Theatre, State Theatre, which is opposite. What is that shopping complex? It's not a shopping complex. It's a
I haven't been to the state in a while, but I see what you're talking about.
yeah. But I was saying that if you can go to people who work there every day and ask them, do you know where Soweto Theatre is, or do you know where the Market
And
Theatre
that
is?
that is the reality.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of a huge gap.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how we're going to close that. Mosie, here on the show, what we're trying to do, the Ink and Think podcast, obviously, is trying to understand the process of actors, musicians, and all of that, you know. So since you yourself are a teacher and you're a teacher, I'm going to take advantage of that, you know. So I want you guys to take me to your wells where you guys drink, you know, the ingredients that it
Yes.
takes to make this incredible actor called Mosie, because
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. The ingredients.
Yeah,
Ooh.
give me your diet. What do you watch? What do you
Prayer
read?
first and foremost.
I love that.
Let us just start with
Modimo
prayer.
Pele.
Modimo Pele. Prayer, gratitude, I watch a lot of films. I love watching other actors.
What kind of films?
Oh, action films.
For real?
I love. Well, if they're not fighting in the first 5 minutes, I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, I hope the slow burn is worth it. You know what I mean? I love action films. I love the incorporation of just like how the body can do a lot on set as well. So I really like that craft. And I read.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love reading. I love books. And I do go out with my friends.
What are you reading currently?
I am currently reading Ben Okri, The Famished Road. And I know it's such a, why are you reading it now? I've just always had that book. And I've never read it. I've read other books. But I picked that book up, and I think it came at such a really pivotal time in my life where I just felt like things are just not making sense. And I just felt like out of place. And then I opened the book and I was like, oh, Ben, you felt the same. You saw stuff. You traveled to other worlds and you felt out of place. Okay, I'm not alone, you know. So I'm really grateful for the book that I'm reading. That's what I'm currently reading at the moment. But books, prayer, films, friends, good friends. And that's literally what keeps me going. Yeah.
I love what you just said about that book. There's a Japanese saying that says, "Guti, when the master is ready, when the student is ready, the master will appear."
Yes.
Yeah, I remember having this other book for a very long time, and I tried to get into it. And I couldn't. But the time I actually needed it, and I read it, I was like, okay, now it actually makes sense. What about you, Joe? Give me your diet.
Yeah,
what do
diet.
you eat? Because you cook.
Yeah, man. Drawing is a big part of it. Drawing is a big thing, like just sketching, just drawing something every day. If you're friends with me on WhatsApp, you'll see on my status, most evenings there's a drawing at the end of the day, because the drawing just helps me process life. And I like to draw. I like to read as well. I like to read comics as well, in particular comic books. I grew up a lot on Calvin and Hobbes, Asterix and Obelix, like really cartoony comics, you know. DC, Marvel as well. I like to read those.
Did you get some magazines from, what do they call the for the anime? What are they called? The comic books.
Oh, manga.
Mangas. Yeah.
Yes, I read manga as well. Yeah. I read Baki. Do you know Baki?
No.
Baki is a fighting martial arts manga. It's a goodie, but not everyone's taste. It's a bit violent, but I
style.
Yeah. But I don't know about violent animation. I don't know.
Yeah,
animation is
it's a little bit hard to digest for me, which is weird, hey?
Yeah,
because I like action.
Yeah, there is something weird about seeing something cute like get destroyed.
I think you'd love Solo Leveling. It's actually very short. I think it has like 2, if not 3 seasons.
Oh, nice.
It's basically about aura farming. You know, this generation is about aura farming. Yeah, but they have like a lot of
+1,000 aura points.
Cliffhangers, and
then
you have to watch the next day. You know, but I think that would be a great start.
Oh, I'll check it out.
Yeah, Solo Leveling. Yeah.
But yeah, what feeds me as well is reading as well. I'm currently reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I like philosophy.
Stoicism.
Yeah, Stoicism.
Yeah.
Exercise used to be part of the diet, but it's fallen away because of English teaching. Oh, English teaching took all my time in Japan. Oh, there was no time to exercise. Yeah. But also, I tried to go to a boxing gym in Japan, but the trainer didn't know any English, so he was like, "Bro, I can't teach you." Barrier. Yeah, so it was like, okay. So I put exercise to the side. So I need to get exercise back into the diet. I really used to love martial arts. I did capoeira for a while. And martial arts is something that's mentally feeds me. Sometimes I'll just watch videos about karate masters or something. I don't know. So, you know, like, I don't know if you have a YouTube diet. Do you have a YouTube diet?
Things that I watch on
just randomly on YouTube,
himself.
Yeah.
No. You know, Mosie, you mentioned something about sometimes posting your poems, and then it
feels crazy. Now do you get what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but you know what I'm learning in this new season of mine? I said to myself, I want to sit in the discomfort. You know, I wanna put my thing out there, knowing that somebody is cringing at it, and sit with that thought. Because I want them to see me growing. You know,
Sure.
I was like, let me expose myself.
Yeah.
See me for what I am. Here are my struggles. You know, hopefully life is going to give me an opportunity to come back better. You know, it's
Yeah.
very difficult. You know,
Sure.
at 12 o'clock, I want to delete that thing. And I'm like, no, we
Yeah.
are not.
Sure.
We're going to sit with that clip that is
Yeah.
weird. It's okay.
We're gonna digest it all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I actually realized that there is no growth without comfort.
Sure.
You know, without
Discomfort,
discomfort. You know, you
yeah.
have to be. You know, so it's like if I want to cross over, I have to. You know, my YouTube died. I watch the weirdest things. I don't know, but I love watching old interviews. You know, and I love, for example, I haven't read Franz Fanon book, but probably I know a lot about him. So
Yeah.
I enjoy knowing about these
Sure.
creatives rather than
Sure.
reading their books. You know, the Ben Okri's, you know, James Baldwin. I haven't read their book, but I just, you know,
Yeah.
watching their interviews, like,
Sure.
okay, that's interesting. And then after that, that's when I'd go to like pick a book. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of that. I love myself. Some Trevor Noah.
Oh yeah, his podcast is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. I just watch how, because I'm thinking at the pinnacle of his career, people will be like, yeah, you need to speak on that. You need to, you know. So I'm just sitting and wondering, how are these people able to do this without being influenced by the masses? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Seeing those negative comments,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
I think you grow like a thick,
thick skin,
skin,
yeah.
over time. Like it's just like internet warriors.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not a huge fan of Beyonce music,
Me neither, really.
but
But I'm a
And
white
you know,
guy,
that's
so it
fair.
makes sense.
but I'm a fan of Beyonce as a person. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think since I've started to like go through those documentaries about Destiny's Child,
I've chilled
to
with
get
her
to
before.
know about the person, I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I know this person. Now I love their music.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to defend Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like we're going to
Yeah.
fight in the comment section.
She doesn't even do a lot of interviews, which is like so
No,
difficult to
it's-
navigate the type of person. Well, I mean, her old interviews
Yeah,
though,
it's her
right?
old
hey?
interviews,
But
you
she's
know.
all grown up now, and I'd like to hear her thoughts now. Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's Beyonce. You know that she's gonna say
Yeah.
this, and people are going to like, you know, we
Yeah.
we live in a day people are clickbaiting. You know, they're just
Sure.
gonna take that moment. You know, so
Yeah.
I think she has built an empire. You know, she has done the work.
Yeah, she doesn't need to
She
talk.
has
yeah.
hustled. You know, that girl was on everything. You
Yeah.
know, that girl was hosting interviews. The girl was
Red
doing
carpet.
films, red carpets. That girl.
Sure.
You know, so I think she deserves to be
Yeah.
where she is. Why are you not a fan of Beyonce?
I'm a fan. Like, I respect her as an artist. Like, she's super
Watch the
successful.
Bay was coming for you when
No.
this drops.
No, but no. To be fair, but I've just never gravitated towards the music, just because my taste in music is not like what she makes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Sure.
not at all into that. Like, I'm barely into pop. Like, barely. Like, if you put on Michael Jackson, I'll be like, yeah, great. You know, like, I can listen to Michael Jackson, but it like starts and stops there. Like, pop
Yeah.
for me is not my thing. Like, I'm famous actually in my house. People will be like, this song, like a Justin Bieber song will come on, and I'll be like, who's this? And they'll be like, it's the new Justin Bieber. And I'll be like, huh? He does this now? Like, I'm very behind on music, like current music trends. I like to listen to a lot of like other stuff.
Who do you listen to? Give me an artist.
I love Brazilian music, so I listen to Tim Maia. There's this group called Gilsons. I started getting into some Japanese hip hop when I was in Japan.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Kiwi Baba. He's from Osaka. Yo, that guy puts it down, dude. No, he does.
down.
Oh, he puts it down. He's got a few tracks. I'm just like, yo, City Love. It's
Yeah.
such a good track. I'm having a Hugh Masekela phase.
Yeah.
I'm just going
Yeah,
through
yo.
Hugh. Yeah, Mosie will tell you rehearsals.
Hey, we are enough.
Yeah. I've got a Hugh Masekela phase right now. I've always loved jazz as well. And I don't know, it's hard for me to say like what I love because like hip hop has been at the center.
Yeah.
My first like song that I ever listened to as a kid was, do you know Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz? Boom, 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 boom. I'm happy. I'm feeling good. I got sunshine. Yeah. That was the first time I heard like a song. Then I
Is it
heard
jazz?
No, it was
Like
it's like
upbeat.
alternative hip hop.
Yeah.
Then there's a part where there's a rapper that comes in, right?
Yeah.
that song I heard it when I was 5, and that has informed all of my music taste. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that in my music. Like, I have to have a song that's got a bit of hip hop in, with a little bit of jazz in, with a little bit of this. Like,
Sure.
I can't listen to a genre that's one pure thing, you know. And
Yeah.
I love jazz because jazz just mixes it all up, you know, and you've got all these instruments going crazy all the time. Yeah, big fan of Gorillaz, Empire the Sun. Yeah, Tame Impala, you know, that white guy vibe, you know what I'm saying?
Vanilla Boy.
Yeah, what music do you like to listen to?
Joe, you
Joy
putting
celebration. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7.
you putting me on the spot, bro. You putting me on
How?
the spot. This is not about me.
Nah,
you
man.
know.
We gotta know.
But
gotta
you know what? I was
Yeah.
actually gonna be worried if you listened to mainstream music. You know?
Why?
I feel like people who are, you know, I told you I love to watch a lot of interviews, you know. So a lot of filmmakers, like somebody who's doing Marvel movies, they're not going to say their favorite film is like a Marvel film. They're just going
Yeah.
to talk about that alternative genre. They're going to tell you
Yeah.
about this other film in
Yeah.
Japan that was done in 1976.
Sure,
I'm like,
sure.
yeah, these are the student of the craft, you know, because mainstream is like fast food. We just like eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have different phases of my life, but the one artist that I always go to is Tracy Chapman. I don't know why, so I just have like a soft spot for Tracy
Yeah.
Chapman.
Yeah.
Very emotional, yeah.
Yeah, love the strings. I love her come up stories. Who else? What else do I got?
Drake, what you saying? Kendrick Lamar, who you talking
I
about?
don't-
Taylor Swift.
Taylor.
No,
That's my girl.
no. Maybe Nas.
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a huge Nas fan.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting into Absol.
Yeah.
Yeah, great lyricist. I'm a huge fan of
Amazing.
J. Cole.
Oh, we
You
love
know,
J. Cole.
yeah. So I'm waiting for the fall. Mosie, who do you listen to?
I listen to everything and anything.
Yeah.
Gospel, jazz, hip hop, my piano, you name it.
Yeah.
I think I have like a palette for a lot. But if I was like to have a selection of songs that I'd listen to for a day.
I love Joy Celebration, by the way.
I
Especially the
do.
first 3 albums.
Yes.
Yeah.
My sisters used to buy the albums when I was growing up, and then they'd play the CDs or the DVDs, and then I'd have to sing
Yeah.
with them, like with the singers in front
That
of
was
the
my
TV for
brother.
everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, like this is so amazing. I didn't realize what they were doing then, but I realized now. I'm like, that confidence, it comes from somewhere. So I love Joyous Celebration.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. But I am currently listening to a song by Gingy. He is a jazz / DJ, South African jazz DJ. It's called Marabi Woman. You should go listen to it. He's
Check it out.
amazing guy. I'm a huge fan of Esperanza Spalding as well. I think she's a great classical singer, and she's trying to merge like alternative with classical music, which I think is really amazing. I'm also a huge jazz fan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love good jazz, South African jazz music.
Yeah.
I think we've got some of the best classics in the world.
I listen to jazz sometimes. I don't have anything against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some few tracks here. But I think I'll appreciate it more with my grey hair. You know,
Yeah.
I love Donny Hathaway.
Ah.
Yeah,
Hathaway.
Donny is like
Yeah.
my favorite person. Musi, I was having a conversation with the guys for the past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
We were talking about the influence of art on life. You know, things that are depicted on television. There's a lot of people that are complaining. There's a lot of nudity that we see on television.
Yeah.
So I just want to get your thought, especially as somebody who writes as a writer, you know, the relationship between a writer and the audience, you know. Do you think of the kind of impact that stories that you write would have on people? You know, I'm speaking generally as a writer,
Yeah.
you know, or are you writing what you're inspired to write, or trying to depict the way you see the world, or writing from a perspective of somebody? Do you worry about the impact that it would have on
Yeah.
the audience?
Yeah, I think positive impact always.
Yeah.
Positive impact I always, but I don't worry about how the work will be perceived, because I usually want to write from a place of like not only experience,
Yeah.
but to mirror what exactly is going on in the world. And yeah, writing is such a personal thing, and it's hard to write.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a difficult thing to do. Like, but once you're in it, you are writing. and you're flowing, because it's like you're pouring a part of yourself out that you did not know how to articulate properly. But I usually want to write from references, like historical references, actual life experiences, real life stories, and then seeing how I can fuse that into a creative story. I'm not really good with fiction material in terms of just like creating characters of an outer world that I might not have experienced or seen, and maybe that's a challenge that I need to put up for myself. But with what's going on in the world, and the things that I'm reading on, and the people that I have conversations with, and the things that I watch, and the things that I would like to see, and the things that I would like to hear, those are the stuff that I write about mostly. And always for the young audiences as well. Most of my writing is for kids. I do believe in like foundational development for kids, especially with literacy skills, and really understanding how to articulate themselves better, emotional, regulating your emotions better, and how to sort of like express yourself without throwing a fuss or a fit, so just like little developmental like sort of things that will help kids articulate the world and understand the world that they live in and articulating it better.
Is there anything that you'd love to see less on TV?
I don't watch TV.
Okay, like on things that we watch, maybe streaming services.
Anything I'd like to see less. I wouldn't even know what would that be, because I don't watch TV.
I remember there was a conversation that all SA shows is just violence and cheating.
Yeah, I think I'm tired of the drug lord story.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like... Yeah. Just the drug lord family, and then there's the poor family, and then there's like the rich family, and it's like, I think we're tired of the drugs.
Yeah.
I think I'm tired of the drugs.
What would you like to see more?
I'd like to see more interpersonal stories. I'd like to see more historic stories as well. I'd like to see more cultural stories that teach. I'd like for us to learn about where we come from, and we can do that creatively. I think Shaka Ilembe is doing that really well. I'd like to see more of that in other cultures. I'd like to see more of that in other spaces. I think there's so much that we can literally feast on and do research about, because we have 11 official languages, which is like 11 cultures in South Africa, and that's just like we've already been given this whole plethora of content, and I refuse to believe that drug lords and drag queens are the be it and be all. I think there's a lot that we can learn about other people, and there's a lot that we can unearth, and there's a lot that we can create from that, and teach it back and remind ourselves. I think memory is important so that we can trace where we're going.
I love that, and I love the fact that you are a teacher, and I'm sure that you're inspiring a lot of other creatives to follow in your path. Joel, before we talk about Peeling Shadows, as somebody who directs, I'd like to bring the same question to you, and to actually find out from you the very same thing that I asked to Mosie.
What can we see less of, and what we'd like to see? Okay, I'll start with what I'd like to see less of. I think I'd like to see less of storylines of it always seems to be betrayal. There always seems to be cops and robbers, then there's a betrayal. Drug lords and judges, then there's a betrayal. There's always this backstabbing energy that's very much promoted on a lot of our shows. Telenovelas, everyone's cheating. Like, there always seems to be like, that's the crux of drama. But like, one of the most interesting stories for me is there's an animated movie called The Wind Rises, and it's by Studio Ghibli, Japanese film, and it's about a guy who spends his entire life designing a plane that will fight in World War II, but Japan loses the war. So he knows his life is about to be meaningless, because he knows that Japan's losing the war, but the government's making him build this plane, and you see him struggle with like, why am I doing this? And you see him go through that pain. And I'd like South African work to go into the internal world of characters much more. There's this interesting thing as well I want to try, which is, if I had money, like if I had a studio, right? Like, if a genie gave me all this money in cash, I would make like stylistic films more prominent. So for example, in South Africa, we're not experimenting with black and white films as well. We didn't have that period, because in Hollywood they had that period of black and white films where they could like really refine that craft. We didn't have that, right? We kind of just jumped straight to color. and stuff. So I'm very curious about going back to old filmmaking ways. So what can we do? As
we only see that when somebody's reflecting.
yeah. But like, imagine the entire film's in black and white type of thing. I like to have that in my brain, and my dream is to make South Africa's first like kung fu movie and like use old 70s.
With Alostro and Bonga.
Yeah.
Barbie Chronicles.
Yeah, no, but
Shout
like,
out to Joburg.
Shout out to Joburg.
no, but like, imagine the first like proper SA kung fu movie, and they're doing it.
But then, what would be the historical context of that? Like,
No, that would be purely fiction.
or just pure fiction.
But you know,
Oh,
Like
actually,
clash of the
there
cultures.
is that. There is that.
Yeah.
Is Sterling the one Matthews Ransom has featured on?
Oh.
Yeah, they
Oh, Matthews is amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
they play along with that. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful film. You should check it out
Yeah.
on Showmax.
'Cause-
It's comedy and
Nice.
kung fu. Yeah.
yeah, because something I want to look at is, because the South African narrative is always like I understand in South Africa we're also trying to look back in our past, but I like to look at now because, for example, my brother is married to a South African Chinese woman, so she's South African, but she's also Chinese, which means she brings a cultural depth of being Chinese with her. So in my mind, if I made a South African kung fu movie, I'd look at Chinatown there by Bruma Lake. What's the story there? What's going on in this community here? Because it always feels like, there's those Chinese guys and we just leave them alone.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
your small towns, like your Northern Cape,
Yeah.
the Free State,
Yeah.
Cowboys in Botswana.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do they call themselves?
Hey,
Mama, what's up, I guess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all these interesting little pockets in South Africa, and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily your like over here in KZN, it's like, okay, we're doing Shaga Lembe, but like there's a group of people in KZN who might be into this crazy thing called Qom before Qom becomes huge, right?
Yeah.
Like the story of Qom is so beautiful that they had these guys with USBs, they approached taxi drivers.
Yeah.
Imagine that story, like we film that and make it a series, you know, for example, like South Africa's full of these magical little places. And I'd like to focus like on that. Like Spinners, I think, is a good example on Showmax, right? The colored community and spinning, like what that is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So if I was a creator, a director with like billions of rands, I would look into those small pockets and try to stylistically be a bit different. I think we copy Hollywood a lot with shots. We copy Hollywood with what's enticing to an audience: guns, violence, sex. You know. Yeah, my vibe would be to experiment stylistically as well. What can we borrow from other styles? Yeah.
I'm having an epiphany of my own right now as you guys are talking. I'm just realizing how we have brainwashed our audience, because at first I actually thought it was their fault. I was like, producers are actually capitalizing on these because of there is an audience for this.
Yeah.
You know, so from what you guys are saying, I think there is an opportunity to like re-teach, you know, reintroduce certain films and get people to enjoy them, you know.
Yeah.
Because I look at the era from around 1990 something to the early 2000s. There's a lot of family orientated sitcoms.
Yeah.
you
My
know.
Wife and Kids was
My Wife and Kids was
crazy.
amazing.
Exactly.
It was so good.
So I was not aware of that, you know, but as I'm having this conversation, I'm realizing that no, of course there is a need for us to show black pain, to show these pains of, you know, what we're going through. But there is more to
Yeah.
us, you know. Sia, how many minutes do we have?
I'd say 5.
5.
Minutes. Okay. We have 5 minutes. We're going to take that opportunity to talk about
Peeling
Peeling Shadows.
Yay.
How did the show come about? An ensemble, the challenges, because I'd imagine there was a lot of egos in the room, or there wasn't. I don't know. You guys tell me. You know, so I'd love to get into that.
Yeah, we sorted it out outside.
Yeah.
I'm joking. So we were in Kwasha together.
Yeah.
And I think this was like what, 3rd, 4th month in.
Can you tell our audience what is Guasha for somebody who
Okay,
doesn't
so Kwasha Theatre Company was at the time a theatre company under the Market Theatre Foundation for graduates who are fresh from university, that are given the opportunity to join a theatre company and work for a year on a monthly salary. To create work that will be staged and performed throughout, at the time, the country. But we
Yeah.
couldn't because it was COVID. Our year was COVID year, so we had a really tough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's essentially a theatre company for graduates that are fresh from drama school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah, you can.
And so we were part of Kwasha Theatre Company, and obviously then we have to devise our own piece as part of the contract, and part of the projects that we're doing for the year. And I remember we came up with quite a few ideas about what we wanted to stage, and we were not really sort of like bought into. We were not, I don't know, I was not sold by most of the ideas that we had, apart from peeling shadows.
The seed was we wanted to look at urban myth
Yes.
in South
Yes.
Africa. There's all these stories of, tokoloshis, there's stories of
Pinky.
Pinky. Yeah, there's a lot of these like
Yeah.
interesting urban myths. Then one of the urban myths we came across was the taxi cat. Have you heard of the taxi cat from Fourways?
Oh, yes, that was a thing where apparently
Yeah.
there was a taxi, yes, and then there was a cat that was driving the taxi, but
Yeah.
it would disappear.
Oh,
The driver would turn into a
I
cat.
saw
Turn into
it
a
on
cat
TikTok or
and-
something. It was trending, but I
Yeah.
didn't follow it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we like had a look at that on the news because like during COVID, a lot of us were just on our phones,
Yeah.
and we were looking at urban myths, and then that was the first idea, and we were like, nah. Then the essential workers
Yeah.
buzz term came up, essential workers, because there's like who's working during COVID, who's not, and we looked at like, actually maybe let's look at essential workers. So we looked at essential workers, and it started with urban myth and then essential workers. Then like let's make a myth about an essential worker. Then I'm not sure how this part came through, but a detective became part of it. Police.
Yeah, police. Yeah, because we also felt like, then what is justice? What does justice look like? Sorry, and I think that's essentially what the core of the play is as well. Is just like refining justice and what that looks like in our country, especially now that there's a lot happening, corruption and
Police state,
police just like coming out talking about how politicians are corrupted. And I like that our story sort of like bleeds into the narrative of what South Africa looks like today, and you get to travel with all of these characters. You get to travel with the Gumete family, the Gumete siblings. You get to travel with Pamela Jack, with Buang. So they are the culprits in the story.
The
They're the
Gumede
ones, the
family,
Gumete family.
yeah.
They're the villains. And here's Pamela Jack, who's trying to solve this case for Buang because they killed my father, for money. And so now I have this suitcase of money, and they're stuck in the briefcase, and they're shadows. So there's a whole lot of multimedia. Going on, but you'd have to come to the show to really grasp what we're trying to achieve. But I think the most beautiful thing about Peeling Shadows is just that it exists in its own world as a cartoon. So we're actors as cartoons on stage. And I think that style allows for us to really then translate the world into other things without us having to worry about it being too realistic, or so there's a lot of play with magic, there's a lot of play with sound, there's a lot of play with sheets and background
Shadow
visuals.
theater.
He draws on a projector as the play happens, so there's also live visual art going on, so it's really quite fun. It's a fun piece from the ages of 12, right? 12 going up.
Didn't you guys say 7?
We actually had a conversation about this earlier on this week. We were like, we actually did change the ages because we realized that the context might be a little bit too heavy for a younger group. And so also then we realized that with the time we don't have enough time to really change the tone of the play for a younger group, because then that means that we need to be afforded another 2-3 weeks of rehearsal to tone it down for a younger group. And because we've already staged this before for a specific group, it's that we will pick up from where we left off to stage for these 4 days, and then moving forward we'll then think about how does this bleed into younger audiences, and then maybe there can be a different show for them still with the same context. But for this it's a little bit too heavy for 7-year-olds.
Responsible creators. I love that. South Africa, did you hear that? That there are creators who care for you.
Yes.
Because we worry, man, with a lot of things that we see on television, especially with kids. Adults, I don't worry a lot. I think Guti, they can, interpret things and, understand. Yeah, for kids, that's who I'm worried about. Joel, as a director of this play, what are some of the challenges and those beautiful moments that came along in creating this piece?
Oh man, the beautiful moments came through quite late into the first staging, but it was incredible because it was all just through us throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this play, and then it all landed on opening night. It all came together, and it was a beautiful. But I think the most beautiful thing was the introduction of shadow theatre. Wanda Ndlovu and Upile Bono, people who helped craft the first one, and Upile is the lead actress. She's Pamela Jack, Detective Pamela Jack. She worked really hard and was like, what is the theatre of this shadow? Like, what are we doing with these shadows? And eventually shadows became part of story. So when we were making the show, it was very interesting. While we were devising, it's like the physical became part of the written, which became part of the next phase, which was the projection. So I started using the projector. So then it's like we started inventing our own rules and inventing our own way of making theatre just for this play alone. Like, there's not another play on the planet that does what we do, because there's projection, there's shadow, there's these different light layerings, there's physical theatre and mime, and then there's the live illustration aspect. So what's fun is that we've got a lot going on, and we're all putting it together like a well-oiled machine, like a watch, like an old classic watch, and each cog has to play its part. For me as a director, it's a lot of fun to see that come together. The challenges is definitely, I wouldn't say egos in the room. Egos is the wrong word, but I think everyone finding their place in this chaos of each thing.
Don't worry, it's a safe space. Mosie, I can.
Is it really? This is going to go online. There's 1,000
I'm
people
gonna
going to watch
block
it. Jewel,
Mosie.
don't
Yeah.
listen to this guy.
No.
It's a safe space.
Well, for me, the challenge is getting people to see what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
because I'm at the back of it, whereas a lot of the actors are in it. And they're like, wait, what's going on behind me? And it's like, no, don't worry, I'm drawing something behind you. But the actor can't see it because they're focused on doing the scene, for example. That's one of the biggest challenges, is getting the actors to kind of just remind them, no, don't worry, I've got you. I'm doing my thing at the back. Don't you worry. I've got you. I've got you. Just play, and I'll take care of you, you know. That's for me one of the biggest. And then I think the second biggest was, like what Mosie touched on, is making the story appropriate for the audience, that we understand what we're doing. Like, it's not just beautiful theatrics. It's not just, I'm impressing you with this projection, this shadow and the illustration. It's like, are they walking away and understanding our commentary on justice, on corruption, on redemption, you know? That is definitely the second biggest challenge, is making sure that the story lands with the audience, and we're not just throwing you
The deep end.
in the deep end, story-wise, and we're letting you figure it out. It's like, no, we care. We want you to enjoy, laugh with us, cry with us at these points too, you know? Yeah.
Mosie says something about this show coming at a time where there's like this expose of the corruption in South Africa. You know, do you count that as a blessing, considering the fact that, you know, at some point it was very, very difficult for you to like do this show around the COVID time?
Bro, you have no idea how I've knocked on doors to get this show through. Like, oh man, throughout 2021, I was fighting for funding, fighting to put it on the places. It just wasn't happening. And then, it is a blessing that this, well, it's not a good thing that our police are going through this crisis, but
Thank you for giving us.
But thank you, it helps our story. But even like last night, this Daily Maverick revelation,
the
right?
bribe and
The
stuff.
bribe. I was just like, oh man, here we go.
That was crazy.
Here we go, because the play we made it at the time in our brain for COVID audiences. 2020, we were like, we want to make people laugh. We want to also make something very meaningful, and we were trying to talk about essential work, justice, And so now that we've come back, and it's this time of police state crisis and corruption and crime, and we're talking about those exact things, it's like, it feels scripted, you know, by the big guy upstairs. It feels almost too timely, too coincidental.
I think it's happening at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. And the main character is representing that. Pamela Jack is representing that question: how can we have faith in these institutions? How can we have faith again in the police? You know, like, I don't know if you've been stopped by police recently on a roadblock, but like now when I get stopped, I just look and I wonder, like, what's going on, you know? What's going on? Is this guy part of this or that? Where's his fingers, for example? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he taking bribes? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? So there's a lot of interesting things that the play is speaking to without us having to try to speak to it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mosie, two last questions. Mysticism, myth in the show. I don't know. Would you consider this to be a genre of horror? And also, because you did mention the fact that you are not a huge fan of non-fictional stuff.
Yeah.
You know, how did you agree to the idea?
I think that's a very good one. I think because it's theater,
Yeah.
and I love the theater, and I'm willing to throw myself in there. When it comes to theater, I'm like, if we are doing horror, let's do it.
Yeah.
But also, it's not like spooky to the point where you will have nightmares after watching the show. I think it's more like, oh my God, I'd like to see more of what these people can do with these little resources that they have. Oh my
Yeah.
God, these bodies are playing so well with these shadows. I think it's very light horror, and there's just a lot of magic that happens, and I think that's really what's so beautiful about it. So I don't walk away feeling like, oh my God, I traumatized myself as an actor and now I have to summon things to get into character.
Yeah.
No, it's very playful horror. It's actually very funny. Like it's like some people watch horror movies and laugh. Hey, even when it's really scary.
I had an
And-
ex that was obsessed with
Yeah,
horror,
no, I
and she
don't-
used to laugh.
I don't get how people can watch horror and laugh,
Because he
but you'll
watches an
definitely
ex.
laugh with this one.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Okay. Now don't worry, you're spiritually protected to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to watch the show. Joel, a new style of theatre was born, as stated in your forward, Popeye. How did that come about? And also, can you wrap it up by talking about the different kind of influences of style that came into this?
Sure. So the first style was, I don't know if this has a name, but I watched a play all the way back in 2013. No, 2012 called Mano Libera, which means free hand in Italian. It was an Italian play. I was at the National Arts Festival, and they had that style of a live illustrator with two actors reacting to what's going on. And it was a 2-hour play of just a man and a woman running through this world as cartoon characters, like trying to figure out what this creator is doing to them. Like, so I was very intrigued by that, so I took that. So that's the first influence. And the second influence comes from the shadow theater element. And then the third and I think most interesting part is music, as well as African theater styles, African theater making, township theater, image making, very heavily influenced by Snentlentla Prince Mgay, co-director.
Shout out Snake.
Yeah,
Shout
shout out
out.
Sneja. He plays a big part in the physical world of the play and how the actors are moving on stage, their bodies. And we basically blended 3 styles together. And in that blending, it's like, this is really interesting. It's got new rules. What are they doing behind the sheet when they're shadows? What are they doing in front of the sheet? Like, it's got its own really difficult but amazing style. So yeah, the name we're still kind of considering, but Popeye Theatre came up because we're making Popeyes. Like, it is the funniest play I've ever worked on. Characters are so alive and animated. And we're trying to present the illusion that these characters are cartoons. These humans are cartoons. Like, when you're watching it with your eye, the aim is that your eye gets tricked into believing that they're cartoons on stage, type of thing. Instead of a hologram, it's like this actor has transformed into a Popeye. So those were the seeds, those 3 main styles and influences. And I think as well, South Africa, the way South Africans are, some of the slang we use, some of the funny ways we talk, you know. Yeah.
I love that. What's next for you after
Peeling,
Peeling Shadows?
What's next for me? What's next? I'm currently writing a play. I'm writing a play called Whale Shark. I'm rewriting, hoping to get eyes on that. And then there is hope to move Peeling Shadows to other spaces for more performances.
Let's go.
And
Yay.
there is, I don't know, I like the music of Peeling Shadows. I want to make an album and maybe make it into a comic book
Yeah.
because it's
Oh,
got a
yeah.
visual appeal already.
Yes.
So there's an idea to move it into other media, to turn Peeling Shadows outside of theater and make it live on in other media forms.
Yeah.
That's currently, at the moment, what's cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that happening. And by the way, this camera is holding you accountable in case you don't do it. I'm tired of speaking of these ideas and not seeing them
Not
into
see
fruition.
them.
No, we must speak it into existence.
Please.
Anything above 1% grows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mosie,
Yeah.
what's next for you?
You know, God knows God, I put my trust in that nigga. I'm like, yo, you better see me through.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to take it 1 month at a time. But yeah, I'm hoping to keep performing as always. And I am working on music, so yeah, we'll be in chats with that very soon.
Please.
On my socials. So
Please.
just be on the lookout for something.
And when you're
those
done,
lines.
this is your home. Come back.
Yes.
Let's discuss this.
Absolutely.
Jewel, when you're done with the play, let's come and talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully I've got a comic book to show you. It's like
Please.
Peeling Shadows, man. I got the
Please,
pages, I
please,
got
please.
it all.
You know what I took from this
Yeah.
conversation that we just had? I'm like, I want to go into your, whatever that you're eating, whatever that you're drinking. Take me to your well,
We'll go to Japan, brother. Let's go.
Let's go. Guys, I'm just going to give you an opportunity to talk to that camera, Sia. Talk to that camera, tell people, invite people to come and watch Peeling Shadows, the dates, ticket prices, and where.
Nice.
So we are going to be staging Peeling Shadows from the 14th to the 17th of August 2025 at the Mamaregane Theatre. Please do come. Tickets are at 150 and it is for the ages of 12 until, 100. Whatever age you are above 12, you are more than welcome to join us.
More than welcome. Co-directed by Senenhlanhla Prince Ngay and myself, and with a lot of love and care from a whole lot of cast members. And the Third Theatre Collective is the collective that's helping to create this beautiful piece together. And it is dedicated to our lighting designer, Sibusiso Ndumdum. Rest in peace, Spuda. Thank you so much. And bring everyone. Bring your mom, your dad, uncles, aunts, grandparents. It's for everyone. It's a show for everyone. So don't hesitate. Please pull through.
Yeah.
Even the shadows that stays at your home.
Yes,
Let them come
especially
to watch
them.
other shadows.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much for not allowing this play to die
Thank
and
you.
for bringing it back. I don't know who made the call, but I'm happy that I'm gonna get to watch Peeling Shadows as well.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. This was lovely.
Thank you so much.
Whoa. Thank you.
Alright, so if it and I take it, you're gonna make it your way to the Mamaregane Theatre to go and enjoy the show and experience the creativity from these two people. Mosie Mamaregane was here, Leonard was here. Lina Lamke Kabelo Gift Khang, and we're signing out.